streaming. Get that stream going. And we're going to run over to the Amazon app now and get this going here. And we'll get going. So this morning, we are going to unbox the C425 Chromebook from Asus. I'm going to get the live stream going to Amazon here. And it's funny because I'm expecting two things from them. These are on loan, by the way, so we're sending this back to them when we're done. And I was expecting that we would be opening a gaming laptop this morning, but when I opened the box, it was the Chromebook they were sending. So we're going to check this out real quick. So I've got about an hour, so I don't have a lot of time this morning, but we're going to unbox this, and we're going to kind of set it up, and I'll show you how to get some of the Linux stuff going on it. This is an Intel-based Chromebook, so you'll have the ability to do some other things with Linux like Steam and whatnot as well. So we'll see if we have time to get all that going on here. And I just got to do one adjustment to my phone here. Set the auto lock on, and then we'll get going and we'll unbox this thing. I'm going to record the unboxing for my extras channel so we can get a little preview of what we're going to do in the full review. And we have Prince and William and Big Raider Mondo and Nethead and Joshua and Blackbird022. Welcome, everybody. And Big Raid is got an HD Home Run Prime, so we found one of the rare ones out there. Is going to use it with a Spectrum cable card. Yeah, good luck, because they do encrypt everything, but they do support, for viewing live at least, you can watch stuff without the encryption causing you trouble there. All right, so let me hit the record button here, and we'll start a little video recording of the unboxing, and then we'll get into the testing and stuff. We also have Wes and JD and Paul. And Paul's in the UK. It's funny, when I do the morning streams, I get a lot of people in the UK and Europe because it's closer to the evening there. And then here on the East Coast, if I'm out in the evening, we get obviously more US viewers. So it's kind of fun to see a little variation in stream time makes a big difference. So I'm going to hit the record button here. So I'm going to record an unboxing, and then we'll go from there and test it out. All right, everybody. So let me do that real quick. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. It's Lon.TV, and we've got another unboxing. Today we are looking at the Asus C425T Chromebook. This is on loan from Asus, by the way. We'll be sending this back to them when we're done. And I love Chromebooks because they're getting a lot more useful. You can run Linux on them and everything. You can do a lot of different stuff now with the Chromebook beyond just the web browser. This one has an Intel processor inside. I should have read off the specs here before I got into the box. So on here, we've got a Intel Core M3 processor, a 64 gig eMMC solid state drive, and then it's got 8 gigs of RAM. The RAM is not upgradable. Typically these Chromebooks are a take it or leave it kind of affair. You get what you get. So this is the unit itself, and let's open it up and see what it looks like. Pretty nice display. This is a 14-inch Chromebook. It has a pretty nice hinge on it here, but it doesn't wrap around like their Chromebook Flip does. I think the keyboard is backlit also. Let me see if it's got any juice in the tank here. We'll load it up. It looks like the battery might be dead, so we'll put some charging on this when we get it going. We're going to have a full review of this soon, by the way, on the main channel at Lon.TV. And on the side here, we've got a USB Type-C port. I'm pretty sure this is a full-service port, so you can get data, power, and video in there, so we'll check that out in the full review. You've got a USB 3 port here, a headphone jack there. And on the other side, we've got a micro SD card slot to augment that 64 gigs of storage, and another USB-C port. This in some ways reminds me of the layout of the Chromebook Flip, which is a pretty useful Chromebook. This one, though, has the Intel processor, so we'll be able to do more with Linux on this versus the other one. And I'll talk about that when we get into the full review, which, again, you can see at Lon.TV. So let's see what else is in the box here. It looks like just a little cardboard riser on that side, and then let's take a look at the power cord. And it is a USB-C power cord, so it's likely those USB-C ports will be full service there. This is, in case you're curious, probably a 60-watt adapter. It is yeah, I think it's about a 60 watt adapter. I'll double check on that. But that's usually what you get with these. And then I've got the US power cord to go with that. So I'm going to charge this up and get it some juice. And what we'll be doing soon on the main channel is a full review of this so you can see what this Chromebook is all about. So stay tuned, more to come on this. All right. So let me see what we have for comments here. So we have Planet X is here and Jim is here. Nethead said, yes, please do the thumbs up. It does help the channel, everybody. And who else we got? Anthony and Jeff and Brian. And Brian says there's some upgradable Chromebooks from Acer. We'll have to try to find some of those too, because there are a lot of Chromebook options out there now. This one actually looks pretty nice. The keyboard has the usual square keys that you typically see on Chromebooks. Good spacing on it though. So I'm going to get the power cord out and charge this thing up because it is dead. All right, so let's get this going here. And then, actually, you know what might be fun? I'm going to use my little dongle thing here because I could check on its video output capabilities with this USB-C dongle. So we get a little breakout box there. So we're going to plug that in there. I'm going to take the power cord and we're going to plug it in. And I'll adjust the camera angle here too, everybody. Jason wants to know if it's touchscreen. I will find out. I don't think it is. And there's some discussion on storage. Yeah, on Windows, you probably, you could get by with 64, but you'll quickly kind of feel the limitations of it. But on a Chromebook, 64 is adequate, mostly because it does, you're storing most of your stuff in the cloud. Although with the Linux stuff now, that's changing. So I think you might want to, if you're looking to do some of the Linux installations, because all that software is stored locally, you're going to want to get more storage for that kind of stuff. And so I think we'll start seeing Chromebooks have a little bit more available. And I got to just cut off a little label on here. On the power cord, no less. I'm just going to give it a little nick of that plastic label there. Just to get it, there we go. Just to get it moving. Okay. So I'm going to go plug this in. I'll adjust the camera angle. And then we'll get going with testing some stuff out. And I've got about an hour this morning, so we'll see how far we get. And because this is an Intel-based Chromebook, you can run some Steam games on it. Because the Linux version of Steam, if you have an Intel machine, will install on Chromebooks. And there's some rumors that Steam is going to work with Google in some kind of official capacity to be able to do more. So stay tuned on that. Now, I am not seeing, well, that's interesting. My little adapter here doesn't seem to be getting us a charge. Let me plug it in directly and see what we get. I bet you this thing is like super dead. So let me just plug it in. Oh, it actually, yeah, it's plugged in completely. Let's make sure it's got a good connection here. Yep, that's plugged in and everything. Okay, so we'll try it out and see what happens. Because I'm also going to have it connect up to my external video display there. It would be bad if this was like a defective one, because that would make this a really short live stream. Sometimes that happens, though. All right, get that centered there. And I have a big mess here. I've got to, later this afternoon, I'm going to clean up. That is going to be my mission this afternoon. Well, it appears as though we're not getting any power to this thing. Why is that? Let's flip it around to the other side here. Maybe that might give us a better... Yeah, this one just does not want to start up. So let me try. It could also be the power adapter too, so we're going to have to troubleshoot a little bit here. Never a dull moment on this channel. I think sometimes the equipment gets nervous because it's on a live stream. So I think, let's let it sit there for a second. I could probably check and see if we're getting any power going through that cable. So let me grab my little tester thingy and we'll check. I think I have it in here, yeah. So let's plug in this. So I got this little voltage tester thing. So I might be getting a light there to indicate that it's charging. So let's plug that in and see. Yeah, there's no power going through this at all. How about that? All right, so let us grab the power connector from my MacBook here and see if the power cable is the bad egg here. Oh, yep, so that power cord's not working. So let me check that connection because it's charging up now. Because that light came right up. And my power strip is on here. All right, let me just try one other thing here. I just want to see if this power cord is indeed dead. Yeah, that power cord doesn't work. It's a bad power cord. All right, well, I'll put that back in the box. And we'll carry on without the power cord. Never seen that before. Okay. How about that? Bad power cord. Let me turn the brightness up on the display here a bit. There's one problem with my cameras. They get so blown out so easily with a white screen. So somebody just asked a good question here. By the way, I'm missing a few people here, so let me scroll back up here. So the good news is it's not DOA. The power cable, though, is DOA. Okay. I'm just going to plug in my little adapter here, and that way I can get some video going out. The battery actually is mostly charged. Let's make sure it still gets power. Yeah. So that's just a bad power adapter, and we'll just let my MacBook here run on its own. All right. So what I'm going to do real quick is get this set up. But somebody did ask a good question about how well Chromebooks age. And they don't age as well as a PC does, unfortunately. I just lost my little thing from my drawer there. They don't age as well as a PC ages because they have a set lifespan. Now, Google has adjusted the end of life dates on these Chromebooks. So what happened before was that you'd get, I forgot what the initial one was, but I think now they last for 6.5 years. And here's the thing, though, is that the Chromebook's end of life date, when they stop supporting it, is not based on when you buy it. It's when the platform it's running was made. And that's what makes this difficult for consumers because, you know, this Chromebook could be brand new, and it is, but if its platform was made a while ago, it's no longer going to be supported. So what I'll do real quick here is I'll take a look. This is the C425T, and I'm just looking on the expiration date here. So this Chromebook that we're looking at today is good until June of 2026. So you get like you're about 6 years on this one before it'll stop being supported. And what I might do, actually, I got my mother a Chromebook about 4 or 5 years ago, and hers just hit end of life. And you can still use it, but it's never going to get any more updates. So that's it. So this one is June of 2026. And I'm just going to start a Google Doc. because I'm going to start including the expiration dates in my reviews just so people know exactly when. Because you could buy this one a year from now and you would still have the June 2026 deadline for support. So what happens in the PC world is that a lot of these computers will go into they'll go into the secondary markets. You can get a good deal on one, but in the Chromebook world, you can get a great deal on this one, but you're also a year closer to the end of life. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm just going to start my Google Doc here. And this is a deadline of June 2026 for end of life. And Google's been pretty strict on this. They're not budging. Even some of their own original Pixel books are expired now. But they did extend, like I said, they extended end of life from like 4.5 or whatever or 5.5 to 6.5 years or 6 years. But again, it's based on when you bought it. All right. There was another question on the comment thread here that people were asking about. There was another question that I definitely want to answer real quick before we get moving here. By the way, if you're watching on Amazon, please leave some questions there too. If you want to watch me on Amazon, you can just click the link and it takes you right in. Let's see here. I'm just scrolling. There was another Chromebook question that I wanted to answer, and I missed it in here. And this thing keeps moving so quickly. Crocodile 3D says, do they pull them off the shelf after end of life? They do not. They actually just keep selling them. I think, though, by the time you get to that point, they're largely not on the market anymore after that many years. So I'm just going to connect it up to my Wi-Fi real quick, and we're going to log in with my test password that I use. So here's the Chromebook terms and conditions. We'll accept that. It's going to check for updates, and of course this will take a minute. Usually there's a big set of updates that come down when you first get it going. I'm just going to sign into my Chromebook real quick. Keyboard's not bad. It feels pretty nice. Got nice travel to the keys. All right, so I've signed in with my Google account. One of the other cool things about Chromebooks is that you can have multiple Google accounts signed into it. And to address some of the questions about end of life and the lifespan of these things, the one thing with Chromebooks is that they tend to be lower end devices, and those, when you buy low end, no matter what you're using, typically they don't give you as much longevity as you would with having a. Sorry, I'm just looking through to see. I don't want to connect my phone right now. You get more longevity out of a more expensive laptop than you do with less expensive ones. So, for an example, we have a MacBook Pro that we use every day for the production of the videos that you watch. That machine I bought in the summer of 2012. It was the first MacBook Pro Retina. And 8 years later, it is still in use. But when I bought it, it was one of the top of the line configurations, and I paid a lot of money for it. So I've definitely gotten a long life out of that. And I should add that Apple continues to support it with OS updates, although I suspect that Catalina might be the last one that it gets. But it's still very, very usable. And Apple does push down security updates even to older OSs. Google doesn't. So once the end of life hits you, that's it. So one of the things that I suggest people do, and I just did an update on my Chromebook 101 video, is I strongly suggest that people go to that page and make sure that you're aware of what your expiration date is before you buy. Because although the computer will be totally usable after end of life, you won't be able to get any more updates to it. So that is going to be something to think about. All right, so we got a lot of questions today. This is great. So somebody asked about Google Play, and we'll start that first here. Yeah, so I think nearly all Chromebooks now support Google Play. And I have this Google account that we use for testing Chromebooks, so I've got a bunch of apps that are currently installing on here. And what I'm going to do, just so you can all get a better view of things, is I am going to connect my Chromebook here to my video system so you can get a better look at what we're doing on screen here. And I usually do some benchmark tests and stuff, but right now, because of installing all of these updates and all of these apps, I want to make sure that we don't impact its performance. But this one should perform pretty nicely because it is a Intel-based Chromebook. And I suspect that we'll see performance on this very similar to the Pixel Book that we just got in recently. All right, I'm just going to mirror the display here. Oops. Okay, there we go. So now I think, yeah, so now you can see what it looks like. So now we are mirrored. Okay. So here's the Google Play Store, and what's happening right now is it's installing a bunch of apps that it kind of syncs up with my account, so everything that we usually run just kind of downloads here. So we've got a lot of apps that it's going to install real quick. So we'll have some games and some other things we can check out. And while that's going, what I'm also going to do is get the Linux stuff going. So we're going to go into the Chromebook settings here. And if you scroll down on your Chromebook settings, let me pull it up a little bit closer for you, you'll see an option for Linux. And we're going to turn that on. We'll get that going. And it looks like, yeah, some really good points out there in the comments about checking for the end of life. I didn't know that you could check that in the device itself. So let's take a look and see if we can find where that end of life is. Let's scroll down here and see what it's in advanced. So I think Jason Hill says that you can look at it in the Chrome OS settings. I'm guessing maybe in the About. Let's take a look. About Chrome OS. Okay, it looks like our Linux is installed. We've got our command line there. We'll come back to that in a second. Maybe detailed build information. Because what I do is I go to the Google page. I think I have a short URL set up for that, and I just go and look at the model number on the Google page. Betabalba, actually, we're going to do, yeah, that. We had a little issue with that TerraMaster live stream, so we're gonna have a part 2 of it. So you will catch the new one when we get it going there. Let me scroll through some of the other comments here. Alex Parma wants to know, what program do I use for remote desktop? So on Chromebooks, there is a Chrome app for remote desktop, and you have to do this through the Chrome Store and not through the Google Play Store. Chromebook remote desktop. Because I think there's a way that you can connect to other desktops through Chrome, and there's a way that you can connect back to it, and I just can't remember where it is. So let me go over to the options here, because there is a Chrome store, an extension store, and I believe they're going to be, some of these things are going to be changing soon as far as how they manage extensions. Let me see if I may already have it installed here. Let me see if I can find it. I don't remember installing this thing, though. Let's remove that. Text editor for Chrome OS and Chrome. Let me search for remote desktop. Oh, where'd it go? Maybe I have to go here, open the Chrome Web Store. There it is. Yeah, so it gets confusing because you have all these different, there's all these different things running on the Chromebook, and then you have to figure out like where is the one that you want, right? So this is the Chrome Remote Desktop. And this will run not only on a Chromebook, but it runs on a regular Chrome browser too. So this is really helpful. And I haven't had to help my mom out with her Chromebook, but just having the extension on helps because if she ever has trouble, I can just pop into her Chromebook and get going. So yeah, that's the one I would use for remote desktop. And then Brian Tuttle says, about Chrome OS additional details and the support. Okay, so if we go, so let's go down back to our settings screen here again. I got a bunch of stuff installing too, so that's why I'm kind of wasting time here a little bit. So we'll go into the settings here, and he says it's down in About Chrome OS. So let's go back over here. They kind of bury it here. You know, it's funny, they really don't want people to know about the end of life here. So we're going to see About Chrome OS, additional details. The end of support date will be listed under update schedule. So I'm in About Chrome OS, but I don't see maybe detailed build information? Because that's where we were before, right? Let me go back. Yeah, this is all I see on here. Maybe we've got to do another update. Yeah, they don't really put it out there for you, unfortunately. Someone's asking if Linux apps run in tandem. Yes, they do. In fact, we could go just type in this command. And this is the one thing with Linux, that if you want to get apps installed, you have to do it through the command line at the moment. There are some things that you can install through the command line to be able to visually install things, but there are some commands that you have to get to know. So we'll do first here is we'll just install LibreOffice. And don't be scared of all this text because this is all normal stuff. We'll just say yes. And what this will do is get a GUI'd Office suite installed on our Chromebook. And these run concurrently with your other applications on the Chromebook. So you can have Google Play apps, you can have Linux apps, and you can have the Chrome OS native stuff all running simultaneously. And they're all isolated from each other. And it looks like it did not work. Let's see. Let's see if it got in there or not. Oops. That's the one thing too, I get confused with the direction of the mouse on the menu here. So so you'll get a folder called Linux apps, and right now we just have that. So let me run that command again and see if maybe it, or I think I have to go sudo apt-get, update all of our package lists here, and then and then I think it should work after we do this. So Linux is still not quite consumer ready, and it's unfortunate they haven't been more aggressive in making Linux more consumer ready, because I think this is like the best opportunity for Linux and all of the great open source applications that run on it to get into the hands of more consumers, because it's something that you can run on your machine here, kind of alongside it, you know. So we'll have to keep an eye on how they do that. And there are a couple of different channels that you can run. So typically when I do a review of a Chromebook, I run the release channel, because that's obviously going to be the less bug-ridden and also usually performs the best. And then they have developer channels, and they have one called the Canary channel. And those are beta versions of the operating system. So if you want to try out the beta version, you can run that. And what's cool about the Chromebooks, for the most part, unless you get into all the Linux stuff, is that everything that you're doing with it is backed up to the Google Cloud automatically. So there's not as much risk of just blowing out your OS, because it's all safely up there. And if you have a couple of Chromebooks, you can just pop back in to another one, and everything will just sync back up, and you're good to go. So my school system here in town uses Chromebooks for the kids. We have a one-to-one policy. And when a kid has a problem with the Chromebook, they just bring it in and they swap it out, because the hardware is almost just, it's just an appliance, and all the data that the kid's doing is all in the Google Cloud, so you're pretty good. But when you do stuff like Linux here, which is what we're doing now, everything you install on the Linux side is going to be living on the local storage, at least at the moment. So this doesn't get synced up. So the more you do with Linux, the more complicated it's going to get. So Jack Keaton is here, Joker Wolf says it's pretty cool that it runs in tandem. Yeah, it's cool. It really works pretty well, actually. You'll see, once we get all this stuff updated, you can see how it all works. And Mr. Food Moon says they're very popular in the education sector. They are immensely popular. In fact, they pretty much blew Apple and Microsoft just out of the water, because what's happened is that these Chromebooks are so, I mean, you can get a Chromebook to every kid for under $200, and they're not bad. I mean, they're not going to play games or anything, but they're going to get the kids some basic computing functionality. And one of the things that we struggled with in our school district before these Chromebooks became available is that the kids who had a computer at home had an advantage over those who didn't, because the kids without computers at home had to come in early or stay late, and they didn't have the ability to do their homework the same way their peers were doing. And we were noticing this divide developing. It was almost measurable in some test scores and stuff. I'm on the school board, which is why I'm able to talk about why test scores are. And so in enabling this, every kid has the same computer. Now, some kids have their own computers that might be better, but every kid has the computer now, and they have access to all the same things. You know, for all the complaining I do about Comcast, they have a really good program for families who are need help with things. And if you have a low-income family, they can get a Comcast subscription with internet for, I think, like less than $20 a month. So there's some good opportunities now for the kids in our schools to be on the same page, like, technologically, which makes a big difference. Yeah, so Nethead says their Chromebooks are the new Apple II for schools. Yeah, and the other thing they do, so there is some fees with licensing and stuff. So the school pays for the Chromebook hardware, and then I think there's a per seat license for all the education stuff. But even all in, it is so much less expensive than what we were paying for Microsoft. So what we did in the school system, so I'm in a small town, but we're part of a regional school district, and they were running their own Exchange server locally, and it was just killing the IT staff just to keep the email flowing. So, when you switch to Google, everything goes into the cloud. Now, Microsoft's caught up. They're actually getting very aggressive. I'm just going to adjust my mic here for a second. Microsoft's getting very aggressive to try to catch up, but Google's just killed them with low-cost hardware, and it's made a huge, huge difference, and the kids really benefit from it. But I think now, if a school district's looking at it, Microsoft has options now that are competitive, which they didn't have when we were looking. So they're catching up, but Google really captured a huge market. Someone's asking what version of Chrome OS. So this one's on 75. So once the Linux thing is done, I'll restart and we'll get it updated, because it looks like there is an update that it just downloaded. So we'll let all this finish up here. And this is all the stuff now. So it used to be when I did a Chromebook review, they were super fast, because we'd run a benchmark, we'd do some web browsing, and we'd show the hardware, and you're done. Now you've got Android apps to install, you've got Linux updates to do, you've got Chrome OS updates to do, and then you can get going. These things are really turning into really useful PCs. So what's happening right now is we updated the Linux side to get the latest package updates from the package managers. And after this is done, actually that is done. So now what I'm doing is installing LibreOffice. And this is a package. So you install it from the command line, but it executes a script that gets everything going. And now, as you can see here, it just finished. And you know it's done because you get your command prompt back. And now I should see in our start menu here, let's go up here, our Linux apps are now populated. And what's so cool about how Linux works on the Chromebook is that it integrates these Linux apps with your basic Chrome desktop. So I can load up LibreOffice spreadsheet here, and this is not a Google spreadsheet. This is running locally on my Chromebook, and if I save files to this Chromebook, those files will be saved locally on the internal storage here. And I think they're starting to make some changes. I haven't looked at a Chromebook in a few months. What's crazy about Chrome OS is that if you don't look at one for a month or two, things are very different when you come back in. So let me find the file manager. I think they moved that too. I don't see it. Where'd the file manager go? Maybe it's under Google Drive now. Here it is. So we load up the file manager. You have like these little repositories for Linux files. for your downloads, your Google Play files. I don't believe right now that Linux is backing up to the cloud. But if I put a file in here, I can access it on the Linux side, because these are all in containers. So even though it's like on my on my Chrome OS desktop here and it's running like an app, it's actually isolated from the rest of the system. And it's very similar to what you might see with Docker on Linux, in that you can have these little isolated things running on your computer. And this is where the Intel Chromebooks do really well. You can actually run this stuff on ARM Chromebooks too, but this one being an Intel Chromebook, we get a little bit better performance. And I used to say, hey, you don't need more than 4 gigs on a Chromebook. You only need 16 gigs of storage. That's changing now, because if you're running Linux, this is consuming memory. So you've got some RAM going on here. I don't know if I can run the top command here. Yeah, I can run it to give you an idea as to what's available. So it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like it's getting like 5 gigs, so it's reserving a little bit for the rest of the system. And this is not going to show me everything that the Chromebook is running. This is just within our container. And I am not a Linux expert. I know enough to be dangerous. So what I'm going to do now that that's installed is we're going to run the update, because we've got a pretty big update here. And I think by the time we're done here, let me just check the Google Play apps. Just want to see if those are done installing here. Yeah, I think we're done here. So we're going to update these things. And let's get all those downloaded, and then we'll update Chrome OS and we'll be good to go. Yeah, so that's the one thing that I think confuses people right now, is that these Chromebooks are, there's all of these systems, the Android, the Linux, and the Chrome OS are all separate from each other and have to all be updated and maintained through their own buckets. And I think if you are playing with Linux, you're aware of how Linux works, so it's not as big of a deal for the experts there poking around with Linux, but it's certainly going to be challenging for consumers just kind of playing with stuff. And I'm hoping that Google really pushes the Linux component here, because these things are so useful. All right, let me back up here to, I missed so many comments here. All right. So we're just rebooting here, so we'll find out what version we're running after this. I think there's some discussion that Joker Wolf is starting here about getting your, let me just put my password in here, your Linux stuff backed up. So that might be a good question to ask folks about. All right, so we are back in. It looks like I've got the Google Assistant now. Yeah, so we were way behind. All right, done. So I wonder, okay, listen, if you have a Google device, mute right now, okay? Because I'm gonna make a request of my device. Hey, Google. Okay, it doesn't do that. So I bet you have to summon it manually. All right, so let me go, I have to poke around with that too. So let me see what version of Chrome OS we now have on here. And it looks like my display stopped working. Let me just rejigger this part here. Doesn't want to extend my display anymore. I'll come back to that in a minute. All right, so let's see what version we're on now. So now we are on, aha, so now we've got, okay, so now we're on Chrome OS 79. And now I'm seeing the additional details thing that we were missing before. Yep, so now we've got a little bit more data here. So let's go and look at that real quick, because it might be helpful for people to figure out when their end of life is. But for some reason, it doesn't want to extend my display, which it was doing just a second ago. So let me pull the USB cable out here and plug it back in. There it goes. Okay. So here's the details on the build. And I think it should tell us in here, right? Let's see. Variations. Yeah, I'm not seeing where that end of life is. Let's go back though to the, like I said, I think if you go to the, if you use Google, here's what I would do. If you just Google Chromebook end of life, you'll get this page here. And this will tell you every single Chromebook is in here. So for example, this is the C425 from Asus. And we just go and find our 425, and we can see that June 2026 is the expiration date. And my mom has the C200, and hers conked out last June. So she still uses it, but it's just not getting any auto updates or any updates for that matter. And then you can also see that Google has applied it to its own products too. So for example, the Chromebook Pixel, the original high-end Pixel, June 2018, done. It's been done for 2 years almost. And I have the Pixelbook Go, which Google sent us a while back. By the way, this one is on loan from Asus, and when we're done with the review, it goes back to them. And so that is that. So Brian says that 79 shows it in the menu. So I think that might not be a release version yet. Let's take a look. Because I like to keep these on the release version while I'm reviewing them, just to be certain that we're not... Oh, it's 79, okay. So we're in 79. So I'm in the menu. So I go to additional details. Is that where we go? Oh, settings about Chrome OS. Okay, so that's where we are. Let's check and see if there's one more update. No, we're good. So what's new with the Chromebook? So that's that. So the other thing that's happened now with Chromebooks is they've made it easier to print. But if you were printing the old way, now it's harder. So for example, if we go over to printers here, I can add my Lexmark printer to my profile or add a new printer. So I think I have 2 printers on the network right now. Let me see where my other one is. So you can add it manually or it'll find stuff, right? So yeah, I only have 1 printer, I guess, at the moment. So my Lexmark printer here is on the network. It found it. I can click Save, and now it's added it. And before, it wouldn't print at all. So let's try printing real quick. Let's go to Control P. I'm just going to do the first page here. So we'll just say Pages, Custom, 1 page, and I'll select my Lexmark. And I'll click Print. And this printer was old, so it didn't work with Chromebooks before because it didn't have the Google Cloud Print functionality. But now, it should print if it's not out of paper. Am I out of paper? Seriously? Well, it's queuing up here. Let's see what happens, because the printer's going. 1 second. The printer did come on, so let me see what's going on. It is out of paper. How about that? Well, the good thing is I have plenty of paper here. All right, so we'll print it out real quick. By the way, I've had this printer for, talk about longevity. This printer is 6 years old, at least, and I'm still on the first toner cartridge. It's a Lexmark printer. So, all right, so it printed. Good. So that works. Okay. Questions about touchscreens. Many Chromebooks have touchscreens. This one does not have one. My Pixelbook Go, which is probably dead right now, this one does have a touchscreen. So this is a nice, actually I really like this Pixelbook. Very thin. And it has the same processor as this one does. All right, so I just want to check and make sure that all the updates are done. So let's check that. And we're going to run a little benchmark on here. So let me just check the Google Play. I think we're good because, yeah, we're good. All right, so now we're going to run a little benchmark. And what I like to run is not the speed test. I like to run the browser bench speed test. I usually have Jake run these things, so I'm a little rusty as to where everything's located. Now, there are two versions of this test. There is a version 1.0 and a 2.0, and I actually run both versions because we've been testing for so long with this test that it's good to see how it compares to newer and older ones. So we're going to start the test. This takes a little bit of time to run. And what this is doing is just like a basic JavaScript test here. And I don't think running the external display is impacting performance here at all, so we'll just double check. Because I expect this one with the same chip as my Pixelbook to come in at around the same performance. So we'll let this run real quick. So Jack Keaton wants to know about audio editing and recording software on the Chromebook. I wonder if we could get Audacity on here, because that is an open source application. So maybe after this is done, we'll try to install Audacity on it and see what happens. And by the way, I reviewed this Samsung solid-state drive last night, and we did a live stream with it, I think, yesterday. I love this. And it's got this fingerprint reader on it. I bought this, by the way. It's not some commercial here. It's got a fingerprint reader on it. And once you configure it on the first computer, you don't need software and anything else. So you plug it in and just tap your finger and it unlocks. It's really cool. It's good stuff. The Infinite, thank you for the kind words. I very much appreciate your support and viewership. Win32 wants to know about Trojan horses and viruses. I would say it's safe. You know, nothing is completely safe, but it's safer just because the operating system is so isolated. But I mean, if there was some kind of widespread, you know, these are the base OS on these is Linux. So if there's some, you know, wide-reaching bug in the operating system or in the kernel, that would certainly be an issue. All right, so we got our first score here, 139.7. And if you want to follow along, I have a benchmark screen at Lon.TV/benchmarks, which is the spreadsheet that I use to do all this stuff. And this is, I think, a pretty good score. Because again, this is an Intel processor. And it's coming in. Let me just put this into my spread. You can't see this right now, but it's just on my other Mac screen here. This is the Asus Chromebook C425 Core M3. I got to look up the exact processor. 139.7 on version 1.0. And the Pixelbook. Let me see where the Pixel thing ended up. So actually, this did. Now this is interesting. This did better than the Pixelbook Go, which has the i5 8200Y on it. So this should not do, this score, something's not right with one of these two machines. So it could be, too, that they've made some OS enhancements because the Pixelbook Go got 79 on this test, and something's not right there. So I might go back later and check the Pixelbook and see what happened with that, because that score, this one should be under the Pixelbook with the Core M. The Pixelbook had the i5 Y series chip. So now we're going to run the version 2.0 of the test. Let's clear the browser out real quick. We're going to run the version 2.0 of the test. So we used to run, there was another one that we used to run, but Google stopped the test. So we're using Browser Bench and Speedometer. And this is a good test because it's interesting to see how things compare. And when you run the same test on everything, you can at least get an idea. And ultimately, you know, I try not to do too many benchmarks on the channel because my viewers are really mostly consumers looking for basic information about, you know, what something is. We got a super chat in from Arsh Sazad. Sorry, we can get your name right there. Arsh Sazad, who is enjoying the stream. Thank you very much for your super chat contribution. I appreciate that. And I'm sorry I got your name all messed up there. And we'll let this finish running out here real quick. Rebel James was watching the stream yesterday on the T7. Can you get it working on USB-A? Yes. In fact, When we were using the iPad, it was connecting via USB-A because I was using my little, let's get a camera, there it is, my little dongle here, which has a USB-A port on it. So, yep, it does work with USB-A. You just got to plug in the right cable, and you'll get that working. Anthony Biacco wants to know, is the Plex app in the store, or do you need to use the browser? Let's check on that after this is done. I think you can use either one. And the browser works fine, but the Plex app might be better in certain circumstances. Now, the version 2.0 scores are always lower, but this is like double what we got out of the Pixelbook Go. It just doesn't make any sense. So I'm wondering what's going on here. We haven't looked at, the Pixelbook was a few months ago, so there could be some OS optimizations here, but this is pretty good for what it is. So just to give you a sense of comparison here, this one is performing at the level that a lot of i5U processors are performing at on my benchmark, which is crazy. And it just has the 8th gen Core M3. So that's nuts. And that Pixelbook has the same guts. I'm going to update that and test it later to see what's going on. All right, so let's take a look. We'll take some viewer requests here. Let's go and look for the Plex app in the Play Store. And it looks like it's in there. In fact, I have it installed already. How about that? So let me just get it connected here to my Plex server. It's got to log into my account and stuff, so let me just do that real quick. And we'll see what it looks like. And we'll try Audacity out in a second too, folks. So some question is to Arch's contribution, how much it was worth. Yeah, I've never seen that symbol before, so I'm not sure what. It'd be great to know, Arch, what country you're from. I'd love to know. Okay, so let me just connect up to my server here, and let's just get going here. Let's take a look. So maybe I'll try. I'm trying to avoid getting a copyright claim here. But maybe we'll do. Let's look at what's on TV right now. Let's try that out real quick. So this is the Android version of Plex. So you can run it through the browser, or you can run it on the app. So I'm just going to scroll down. This is I must be getting old because I can't see things anymore without getting closer. I'm just going to scroll down the list here. This is all live TV. And I'm just trying to find something that, like, you get copyright strikes, like, just in real time. It's crazy, so I'm trying to be careful here. So I'm going to look for, like, the Weather Channel or something safer. Let's look for the Weather Channel. Oh, it's searching everything. Hang on. That's not going to work. I think it's still building in the guide here. So by the way, I have an HD Home Run Prime. And in full disclosure, they're an occasional sponsor here on the channel. And this device allows me to watch my cable TV shows anywhere in the house. And actually out of the house, too. I could do this. I could stream this over the internet, too. All right, let's load up. All right, now I'm seeing what I'm looking for. Actually, you know what I want to do? I want to try my local NBC affiliate, because that requires some transcoding on my server side. So let's take a look here. I'm just going to be really careful about how we play these things back. And I found, like, some things like Netflix might only do like 720p through the app. So you just have to kind of play it by ear. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Although I got like it was weird. So it did like so if my mouse hovers over it, it turns the screen orange. So a little bug in the app. I may talk to them about this because it looks like there's a bug in there. See, if I go like that, it looks better. See, it's got that orange hue on the screen. So they're shooting this right now at the mall that I used to hang out in college. They had this burger place on the lower level that was great. So I'm not hearing anything out of the speakers. So you know what? We're probably going through the... here we go. So yeah, that works. So Plex works. It's a little buggy with that orange thing running through there. I think it's just... And obviously we don't have any touch controls. So yeah, Plex seems to be working. So we had another request for... another request for Audacity, so let's go and see if I can install that. And I think what I'll do too before we close out is I'll install Steam on here too. And the other thing I want to look for is whether or not this Chromebook through Linux is going to support the GPU extensions, because you can now get the Intel video hardware acceleration running here. But this seems to perform pretty nicely, and it is fanless too, by the way. This is a regular. This is one of those Core M processors, so they run fanless. So we might see some throttling. And that was I should know what a rupee is, and I did not know. So thank you everybody for letting me know from India. Rebel James, have you looked at the Intel Project Athena certification for Chromebooks to make the nicer ones? Probably not worthy of mentioning. I need to look into Project Athena and what that's all about. Horrell says about 48 watt hours of battery. Yeah, I'll test the battery out throughout the course of the day and see how it does on battery life. The display looks nice though. It's a nice IPS display. And let's type in Audacity and see what we get. Okay, it's in the repository. So let's let that install. I'll tell you what, installing with packages on Linux is so much easier. So back about when I first started playing with Linux, it was so frustrating because you had to build and compile everything. It was just very, very cumbersome. So these packages, they go out, they download all the necessary libraries, and so what it's doing is not just installing the application, it's installing all the things that the application depends on to run. And with one command, you get all that in there. I did a video a while back about how to install like one of the, there's like a, I don't want to call it a store, but it's a graphical browsing interface that you can use to get that stuff going. And let's load up Audacity. There you go, folks. Boom. Audacity on a Chromebook. And I don't use Audacity all that often. I use it occasionally. But we could just, hello, this is a test. I am testing. Okay, so it looks like we've got a little issue with the microphone. So I don't know if it has access to the audio files here or the audio hardware. So let me go into the recording. Wow, there's a lot of stuff on here. You know what? I have no idea which one I should choose. Let's try this. Test. So this might be something where we want to plug in a USB microphone. So let's try that real quick. So I've got one, and I think I have one down here. Let me see. I've got one of everything around here, so I'm sure I've got a microphone that I could plug in. Oh, you know what? I think it's upstairs. I'm trying to think what I've got here that would work without having to go hunt around the house for things. We may have to explore this a little bit further because you might run into some issues with hardware working with it. Yeah, I think my mic is upstairs. Do I have another microphone down here? I must have something. See, if I go into my back room, my microphone cuts out, and then Amazon closes the stream. So we're going to have to, I think, come back to this thing here. Let me go run upstairs real quick, folks, and we'll see if I can find a USB microphone that I know is upstairs that won't run out of range on my mic. And we'll try this out real quick. I don't know to what extent things connect up. So we'll take a look and see. And let me go up here. And there's my microphone. I'm just going to grab the whole thing because I have to do some stuff with this later anyhow. Okay, I am back. Ooh. All right, so I've got a USB mic, and let's see what happens when we plug this. I'm going to close out the app here, and I don't know to what extent USB passes back and forth or what I have to install to get it working, so let's see what happens. All right, so I'm going to plug that in. And this is a cool thing, by the way. I bought this a while ago. This was a kit. It's a Shure XLR to USB adapter. Isn't that cool? And mine came with an SM58 microphone. These are great mics. All right, so let's load up Audacity again. I've got about 15 minutes, by the way, before I got to close up shop here for a little bit. Because I have to go down and check my mailbox. And I got some stuff. I got to do some editing this afternoon because I've got a bunch of stuff that's just sitting. All right, so what I'm curious is whether or not this microphone is showing up on the list of mics, which it isn't. But what I haven't done is closed out Linux. I think I can just do like a shutdown. No, I guess I can't. Oh, okay, I can do that. Okay, so I'm going to shut down the Linux, and let's rejigger the Linux and see if it finds the mic when we restart. And what's going to happen here, I think, unless I totally killed it, is that the Linux needs to like reboot itself. There it goes. All right, let's see if we can get that mic up. So I don't see it on the list, but maybe the system default mic will work now. Let's take a look. Test, 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 test. Yeah. So I think Audacity might be a little challenging. So yeah, so that one's going to be a little bit more challenging. All right, let's take a few more questions here. And I'll show you how to get Steam installed too in a second. Joey Mack wants to know, can I recommend any sites to legally download or purchase media, movies and box sets to play in Plex? It's annoying watching highly compressed streamed videos on Netflix, etc. on 4K HDR screens. So it is difficult because there are not many that I'm aware of DRM-free places to get at least popular media from. Which is why I just buy the discs and rip them. That seems to be the best way to go. I think Vimeo has some independent content that you can buy through their video distribution system. Because I've downloaded a few documentaries and stuff through Vimeo that that let you do that kind of stuff. They give you just the file that you can download, but that's rare. Hollywood is not keen on giving you full quality DRM-free media, which is unfortunate because the music industry just said, we'll just do it. And it hasn't hurt them. Well, maybe it has because it's changed quite a bit. But yeah, unfortunately, there's not a lot out there. Let's see what else we got here. I'm just reading through the comments here. Danny wants to know how much space is left on this thing. Let's find out. I think I can find out how much space is left on this. So let's go into the File app, I think. So we've got Audacity installed. We have the Linux stuff installed. We have a couple of games installed on it now too. So I think I can get the amount of space. That's the other thing. They don't make it easy to figure out like how much space you have on this thing either. I don't know. Let me go back and see if there's a place to look for storage. Okay, Files app. Okay, there's a menu in the over here. Okay. There's a menu in the upper right-hand corner. At the bottom of the drop-down, you can see how much space you have available. Am I missing something? Let's see. I am not sure how much space is left on this thing. I really don't know. Let me look through. I'm just looking through something here where there says there might be, oh, I see. Task Manager. System page. Check available Chromebook storage. Yeah, so it's funny. They used to put it right in the menu here. Oh, there it is. I have 37.9 gigabytes available. And it does give you some ideas to what each thing is taking up. So we've got 4.5 gigs of Android stuff installed. I do have some games that installed on it. And we've got 2.7 gigs right now of Linux. And then the browsing data and the downloads. So that's in the Files app, by the way, that you'll find that. All right, so let's do Steam real quick. Steam's a bit of a heavy lift on this. And I always do a Google search because, again, things change constantly. Let me just keep my chat window up here. And then DQHPMP wants me to talk about accessibility features. So we'll take a look at that while we're installing Steam. By the way, there is an effort afoot to get an official Steam installation on Chrome OS. So that's going to be something to look at. And this is the guide I've been following. So this is what I've been using to get Steam installed. What's nice about this is you can just highlight stuff and drop it in. So we're going to just do all this stuff here. So we're going to get my Linux thing up again. Part of it is you have to get another repository connected to your Linux installation to get Steam installed. So we're going to just grab the first part of this here, and then we'll go from there. And then I got to run in a few minutes, folks. So we're going to copy that and drop this in here. Oops. And my phone is ringing, but I'll get that in a minute. Oh, I got to do more than this. Okay. Let's grab this part. They may have done a little script there. It's maybe what they put together. Let me see. First, run the following commands in your terminal. All right, I'm just going to copy this whole thing and see if this works. I've done this before. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble right now. There we go. Okay, so this is going to download all the prerequisites here. And then once this is done, this will take a minute or two. So accessibility on Chrome OS. Let's go in and look at what accessibility features there are. And you think they would put, here's the accessibility section, okay. So we have the ability to show some accessibility options in the system menu, and we can manage what accessibility options there are. So here's what you got. You have text-to-speech, which is spoken feedback. Let's turn that on real quick and see what we get here. And I'm going to adjust this to get our audio output through the computer's speakers.
Time 11:58 a.m. Battery is full. Dialog. Window. Press search plus space to activate. Previous menu. Button. Press search plus space to activate. Status tray. Time 11:58 a.m. Battery is full.
This doesn't seem to be doing much. Let me turn that off again here. Let's see.
Settings. Manage accessibility features. Enable Chromebox. Spoken feedback. Toggle button. Pressed. Main.
Oh, I see what it's doing.
Press search plus space to toggle. Enable Chromebox. Spoken feedback. Toggle button. Pressed.
So what this will do is give you, obviously it'll read everything that your mouse is running over. You have some so you have high contrast mode on the display, so I can change that. It's almost like a dark mode, and that's pretty cool. You have a full screen magnifier, so it'll kind of follow the mouse and zoom in on things. And you can set that magnification level. You have a docked magnifier, so you can do something like this where you've got, kind of a split screen view. So a lot of visual aids here. Keyboard and text input, you have sticky keys. You have an on-screen keyboard you can pull up. You can do dictation, speak to type. That's pretty cool. And you can type into any text field with that. Let's try that real quick. Test. This is a test. This is a test. There you go. That's pretty cool. All right, so you have a lot of accessibility here. Turn all this off because I don't want to have it replicate in all my other Chromebooks. So we have additional display settings. You have mouse and touchpad options here. So you can have it automatically click when the cursor stops. So it's got a good amount. Hopefully that answers your question there. And Arshad is a twofer today. Thank you very much for your Super Chat contribution. Much appreciated. He's been following me for 3 years. I've been at this for, I've been at it, that was probably in the early days there. Danny wants to know, how's the overall performance on this Chromebook? Is LibreOffice? Yeah, it seems like it's pretty good. We ran that benchmark and it did better than my Pixelbook Go did. So I'm going to want to, I need to run it again on the Pixelbook to see what's going on. But I am pretty pleased with that. Let me just let this finish installing here. But we'll load up like LibreOffice. Let's load up the drawing app here just to see what it looks like. But it seems to come up pretty quickly. And this is eMMC. It's not even like an NVMe SSD or anything, but it seems like it's running pretty good here. And I'm installing Steam right now too, so we had a few other things going there. So it probably can't, Call of Duty, right, the Android version. I'll check and see if it's in the store. So let's take a look. And give me 1 second, I just have to agree to the Steam license agreement here. Let's see if Call of Duty is available. I think we've tried to run these on the Chromebooks before and we had trouble the last time. But we'll let this install and see what happens. So we'll get that going. That's a big one, 1.5 gigs. And that'll install in the background. We're installing Steam right now on the Linux side. And then Wayne wants to know if I can install the demo of Bitwig Studio. Is that something that is on Linux or is that an Android app? Okay, so Steam is here, so I can boot up Steam. You can see it's downloading an update now. And I'm just going to leave the command line there. So that's going to take a second, and my downstream is likely a little saturated because of the other thing we're downloading here. So that's going, you can see what it's doing right here. So we've got Call of Duty Mobile downloading along with Steam. So it looks like Call of Duty might be done before Steam is done. I don't think I have an account on that either. So Wayne, I may not have time to get to that, but I will look into it to see if we can get it working. I think the problem that we're going to have, though, is that we're not able to connect audio sources, it looks like, to Linux, which was an issue we ran into with Audacity. And we'll let Steam finish out here and see if Call of Duty is ready yet. Let's take a look. Okay, so now it's starting to get a little bogged down with all this stuff going on. It looks like it's not installed yet. I'll give it another minute or two here. Here's Call of Duty. Let's see what happens. All right, gonna give it permissions for everything. Allow, allow. I do think the Android microphone stuff works better. All right, we'll let this go. We'll do a quick Steam thing, and then I've got a jet because I've got to. I got a conference call coming up. I got some stuff I got to do. We got Steam still going here. A lot going on in our Chromebook at the moment. So I'm going to log in. Well, let's get to this next. Let's see if we can get Call of Duty going. Right now it says it is loading. Please be patient. So we'll let that finish up here. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to log in as a guest just to play real quick. And we'll see what happens here. So I'm going to just log in with my test account here. Am I buying something? What am I buying here? Confirm your choices. Okay, never mind. All right. Oh, it crashed. There's that. Yeah, we've not been able to get, like, we get a little bit of the ways along with it, and then it just, like, it conks out on you. So some things that run well on a mobile phone may not run here. The other issue that you run into with these things, too, there it goes again. Maybe I'll reboot the Chromebook real quick and see if that gives us a better, you'll see how fast it can reboot, too, when we do that. One thing I've noticed with these things is that they sometimes, the Intel processor sometimes becomes an issue because these mobile games are designed on are designed for ARM-based devices, and so you run into issues with that occasionally as well. So sometimes you might see it run better on an ARM-based Chromebook. This one's Intel. Okay, so let me just log back into my account here. And we'll take a look. Take a look and see what happens. All right, so we're back up where we left off. And now that we have, like, the Linux thing is not loaded at the moment, let me load up Call of Duty now and see if we get any further here. But I suspect it's going to crash out on us again. And this is not unusual. This happens on most of the Intel Chromebooks I test with, if not all of them, which is often why this doesn't show up in the video. Yep, it crashed. Womp womp. But we might have some success with the Steam side of things. So let me go and just do a quick lookup on enabling GPU support, because that'll be a good thing to see if this supports that. And I'm not sure it supports this one yet, so we'll find out. So we're going to go to the Chrome browser, and we have to type in Chrome flags Crostini -GPU support. And we're going to enable. And we need to restart. Oh, you know what? Let's do this too, because this might be why our audio wasn't working. Christini USB allow. Let's enable that for the heck of it and try Audacity one more time. Let's reboot that, and then I got to run. But this is good. I like to spend some time getting these computers working and getting to know them a little bit, so this stuff is always really helpful. Okay, so now we've rebooted, and we're going to load up Steam now. And I'm going to have to log into my Steam account. Now, it's taking a while for it to load because we didn't have Linux loaded. It has to load up that container with Linux on it. And then once it loads up, we will be ready to go here. All right, there we go. OK, so I'm just going to log into my Steam account now. And you'll be able to see how many games I have that I don't play. It's funny, when you monetize your hobby, you end up not doing the things you used to enjoy doing, because now it's like, well, I'm going to save that for Monday when I'm doing some work for the channel. And so I don't play the games as much. You know, it's funny, I'm into more of the casual games. So Kelly Petra on Amazon wants to know where her refund or his refund is. I don't know, because I don't work for Amazon, unfortunately. So you're going to have to contact customer support. All right, let me just go over to I have the Steam multi-factor, so I have to get my code here. All right, so I'm going to type that code in real quick. And now we'll see Steam up. Now, I'm going to try to find like a really low-impact game real quick, because first of all, these games are huge. They're just as big as what you would normally see on the Windows side, because they're the same games. And some of these work on, oh, that's weird. Some of these work on Linux, so the Linux versions are the ones you're going to be looking for here. Although right now it's just kind of frozen, which is not a good sign. Usually this is not freezing like this. So we'll let this boot up here. So Kelly over in Amazon chat, I'm sorry I can't help you. I am not Amazon. I'm an independent content creator, so I can't, unfortunately, let you know where your refund is. All right, but let this thing load up here. So we're simulcasting on Amazon, by the way, so you can see me on both platforms. So every once in a while, the other day I had a similar question, like a return question. I'm like, well, I understand where people are frustrated, but we're independent creators here. So it looks like Steam is a little frozen here, so I'm going to just cycle it here, and we'll cycle the Linux also and see if that might work. And you're welcome, DQ, for checking out the accessibility features. Yeah, I don't do a lot with accessibility. I probably should do some more. I need to know more about it too, which is why I haven't done much with it. So we're going to kill the whole Linux thing here, and we're going to rejigger it and see if that works. But it could be that Linux is just not digging, or Steam is not digging Linux on this Chromebook. So that could be what's going on too. This is even though it's an Intel-based Chromebook, it's likely a different platform from the Google one we were looking at, the Pixelbook. All right, so let's try it one more time. And it could also be that when I enabled that USB thing, that might be throwing off Steam also, so that's possible. So Mark, if you go into, Mark was wondering where the Amazon feed is. If you go into the video description on what you're watching, there's a link that'll take you right into the Amazon Live interface. And you'll be able to see all this stuff on here. Okay, so now Steam is looking a little bit better now, but still not good. Look at this, it's like all like frozen up here. So there's stuff like appearing, but not. See that? So I suspect that we're just not going to get Steam working on this today. But what I'm going to try now is, let's go back to that thing we just did, and I'm going to turn off the I'm going to turn off that thing the USB, to see if maybe that might be causing some conflicts here. So we're going to turn this off, and we're going to restart. Because the GPU thing worked great on that Pixelbook, and that was just on the main installation here too. So sometimes some things don't work right, and this could be one of those instances. But we'll take one more college try at this, and then I got to run and take care of some errands and stuff. Yeah, DQ, why don't you send me an email to Lon.TV? I don't know when we might get to it, but it might be a good topic to explore accessibility and what's out there, and that might be an interesting topic. So CVL says the major flaw of Chromebooks is the hacky way you got to go about getting programs to work. Yeah, this is still, Google's good about. I think Google has really contributed greatly to entering the word beta into our public lexicon, because when they give you that disclaimer, hey, look, it works now. When they give you that disclaimer, you have lower expectations, right? Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. Let's see. Well, it was working a second ago, but it's still not. Yeah, it looks like the GPU support is just messing things up here. Yeah, it's frozen up. Well, that's a bummer, because this has worked typically, and I think it just could be that this GPU support is problematic right now. Yeah, it's totally like locked up the video here. So I'm going to try one reboot, and then we're going to give up. So I definitely, because if you can't run the GPU with the Steam games, it's not worth it, because they run like super slow. Like even, and remember, we had a Core M3 here, so you're not going to get the best performance, but even a game like Shovel Knight, which runs at 60 on a Core M like this one has, it will be maybe 10 or 15 frames per second. Really, really bad. All right, let's see what happens here. So Mark said that the Amazon feed is 6 seconds ahead of my YouTube broadcast. I believe that, actually, because they have less people streaming to them. So that could be. So I think there's only like maybe a handful of live streams going on Amazon at any given time. All right, so let's log back into the Chromebook here. Try it one more time, and then we're going to call it a day. And I will try that USB thing offline and see if I can get that going. Sorry about activating your Shield remotes, everybody. Yes, Rebel James, GeForce Now is coming to Chromebooks, and that's going to be great. And they're going to be, I was curious how they were going to implement it. It's going to be done through, I think, through the browser. So I would bet you that it's going to be more than just Chromebooks when it gets implemented. All right, let me just log into my Steam account real quick, and let's see if this works now. It was working better than it did the first time, because this didn't happen before. We didn't get even that window up. So Sonic games are on sale, everybody. If you want some Sonic games, what else is on sale on Steam? Let's see. We've got Space Pirates and Zombies. Okay, $4. Midweek Madness. Get your deals. All right, this is encouraging because it didn't like lock up on me. All right, now it's back. Okay, cool. So let's look at something like VR stuff will never run on here. And I'm going to go select things that run in Linux. And they've changed this up so much that I forget what I'm supposed to do to get this working. Oh, uh-oh. It just locked up again. Yep, it's frozen up. And you can see, though, because you're running it in a container, even though this is frozen, your browser is not impacted by it, because it's all isolated. So if something happens on the Linux side that crashes, it's not going to impact what you experience elsewhere. So I would say, I may try the developer channel later and see if that gives us a better experience here. But it looks like we're not going to get that going. So yeah, this could just be, and this is the thing, every one of these Chromebooks is different. The GPU support is kind of the next big thing that they're working on. So on the Google Pixelbook side, it works. But this one may not be compatible yet with what they're working on. I'm going to try the other thing and see how that goes. Hukuro-san wants to know if I have Sonic Mania on Steam. I don't think I do. I don't think I have. No, I don't have it on Steam. I definitely have it on the Switch. That's where I've been playing it. It was funny because once the Switch came out and all the independent games started coming to that, I stopped buying a lot of indie games on Steam because I prefer having them handheld. And a lot of the indie games that I like to play aren't very hardware intensive, so they run great on the Switch. So the latest one I'm working on or playing, it's not on Steam at all. It's Burger Time. It's the Burger Time remastered game. It's so much fun. I've been having a blast with that one when I have time to play, of course. All right. Okay, everybody. I've got to call it quits because I promised my wife that at lunchtime I'd let her, or she can go out and I can watch the little one for a little bit. So I need to get that going. But I am going to be back again with another stream soon. We're going to have a review of this up in the next couple of days. I'll probably work on that a little later this afternoon. And I'm going to go see what's waiting for me in the mailbox, too. So there might be... I'm expecting a gaming laptop from Asus that's like $650 with a GPU. Good deal. So when that arrives, I will be back playing with that. So stay tuned. And hope you all enjoyed watching me kind of get acquainted with this laptop. This is like the first step of my review to kind of get a feel for how it works, get everything installed on it, which we did. It doesn't run much, but that's kind of par for the course with Chromebooks right now, is that there's a lot of potential in Chrome OS, but we're not quite there yet. But I still am very, very big on Chrome and will be for a long time because I think it is awesome stuff. All right, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. You are welcome, Hukuro-san, and I appreciate everyone's support. I want to thank some new members. So Mark, my friend Mark, who's you're going to see him on my channel very soon because he lives up the road from me, and he does some awesome wooden jigsaw puzzles. And if you go to Lon.TV/puzzles, you can find his channel. And actually, we were at his house on Wednesday, and one of the things I'm editing today is the video that we made there because Mark wants to do a multi-camera shoot like I do, switching cameras quickly. And we set him up with one that cost a lot less than mine with just what he had in his house. So he's got all this stuff working now with just what he has lying around. So it's going to be kind of a fun little video. So that's coming up later in the week or weekend. And then, I've got to just check some stuff out because a few of the screen captures we were doing didn't work. So I've got to take a look at that. And I want to thank Arsh for his 2 Super Chat contributions. Thank you very much. And now I know what the Indian currency symbol looks like because I didn't know which one that was. So thank you for letting me know what that's all about. All right. I will see you all again very shortly. Keep those notification bells on because I do these all the time. So I don't really plan them out because I don't like that pressure of having the commitment. I'm not against commitment. Just committing to live streams is something I've never been able to do very well. So I just pop on randomly. Sometimes in the evening, sometimes in the morning, and depending on where you are, it might be the reverse of what it is for me. So that's it. Okay, I will be back later, everybody. Have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.